Hello students, welcome to another examiner walkthrough video from Diplomaly. Today we will be going through a case study called GreenTech Innovation, GTI. This is a case study from Unit 1. And this is the second part video for the case study, which looks at question B. So you might want to refer to the other videos if you're curious to know what the responses are and the walkthrough videos for the other parts of the question for this case study. In this particular case study, we are looking at the syllabus content, which looks at the main features of partnership and privately held companies, which are two business entities. So these are business entities, which is covered under topic 1.2 in the IB syllabus, and it is assessed at the AO2 level, meaning that it goes beyond just simply testing you on the definitions of these different business entities and also the basic features of these business entities, but you are looking at, the advantages and disadvantages of each of these different business entities. So this is the additional information that's given for the case study. And as you're reading the case study, okay, always remember that you are trying to pick out some of the key information that's shown in this case. So I would imagine that you have read the case already. So some of the key information here is that GTI has actually went from a partnership, okay, and then there are two partners, Mark and Lisa, decided to convert GTI into a privately held company. So what you see here is it's a conversion between one business entity to another business entity. Okay, so something to think about, what are sort of the reasons why they decided to switch, to a privately held company, and also, the pros and cons of staying as one business entity versus another business entity. Okay. In the case study, they do mention that by switching or converting to privately held company, it allowed them to secure the necessary funding for scaling up their green technology projects and achieving broader impact on sustainability. So what this means is that this part of the case study is telling you that the reason why they converted, okay, so the rationale for conversion of business entity is really mainly due to sources of finance, okay, SOF. And then it says that, by converting to a privately held company, it allows them then to get more funding from family members because remember, um, privately held companies, they can raise finances by selling shares to close family and friends, right? So what it means is that for Mark and Lisa, their pool of finances is not just restricted to only the money that Mark and Lisa has put into the business, but now they've expanded it to include sources of finance from family, friends, and other members that, are within their family network. Okay. So if we take a look at the question, right, it's always a good idea to take a look at the question first and see if there's any information that you can pull out from the case study to help you enhance your response. Now, if you take a look at it, it is a 4-marker question, meaning that it is a question that is assessed at 2+2 level. Okay, so 2 paragraphs, okay, is the structure that we're looking at, okay, for this response. And it is very clear in terms of the command term. It is an explain command term, meaning that it is AO2. And it is definitely a 4-marker because it is asking you for one advantage and one disadvantage. So they're asking you for 2 things. So that means this is going to be your paragraph 1, and this is going to be your paragraph 2. So your first paragraph, the first sentence should state very clearly what is the one advantage, and the second paragraph should state very clearly what that second advantage is, okay? And remember, for a 4-marker response, it's always a good idea to use the PEE plus I structure, okay? In case you have forgotten what the PEE plus I structure is, for a 4-marker response, you may refer to our exam skill video, or you may refer to another walkthrough video from another case study, which I have went through this quite thoroughly. Okay, so just a quick recap, okay, in case some of you forgot what it is. P is your point. And in this case, this could be our advantage point or our disadvantage point. E is the explanation of the point, okay, which can be in a theoretical sense. Okay, and remember, theoretical means kind of like, what the textbook says. E is the evidence or example from the case study. And I remember it is the link, okay, to impact on business or to business, okay? I use the word link because some of you might be more familiar with the Peel paragraph from your previous courses that you've taken at your school. But essentially, it's the same thing. I changed it to I because we're really talking about business here and we want to look at the implication on the business, right? And remember the implication on business, this could be a positive implication and it could be a negative implication, depending on what you're talking about, right? Because the question here is asking for one advantage and one disadvantage. So it means that when you're talking about the one advantage, this would be obviously the positive implication that you want to talk about. And if it is the negative aspect that you want to talk about on business, right, then you would relate it to the disadvantage. So as you can see, the PEE plus I structure really already gives you a framework on how you need to answer this question, right? So you don't just answer this question without really a structure. And believe it or not, as an IB examiner myself, but also, looking at many of the different responses in the assessment, usually the pattern is that you will see there is a structure, right, in the four-marker response, right? And ideally, you should separate your response for a question like this into two separate paragraphs. So it's very, very clear for the examiners to see, what you're talking about in terms of the advantages and what you're talking about in terms of the disadvantage, okay? Now, if you continue on to take a look at the question, it says that you're looking at the advantage and disadvantage for Mark and Lisa of switching from a partnership to a privately held company. So what this is implying is that you are looking at, okay, you're looking at the advantages of being a privately held company and the disadvantages of being a partnership. Okay, so that's sort of what you need to talk about in this question. So let's take a look at the exemplar response. Okay. Okay, so apology, there is an error here. Okay, it should say part B, okay, which refers back to that previous question. But if you take a look at the response, right, you start with one advantage to Mark and Lisa is the ability to access greater sources of finance. So clearly, this is your advantage, okay? And it's the advantage point from the textbook on privately held company. Okay. This is straight up from the textbook or from your teacher's notes, okay? There is nothing that is showing application at all, okay? It is just a theory. It is just a feature of being a privately held company, okay? The second sentence is then where you explain what this means, right? So by converting the company, GTI, into a privately held company, they were able to secure the funding for family members to scale up their green tech project. Now, as you can see, okay, this is where you can see, application is already being shown in the second sentence. Now, you might ask, well, didn't you just say that we should explain in our second sentence, okay, demonstrate explanation in a theoretical sense? The answer is yes, but very skillful level 7 students, what they'll do is they will already start showing some of the application in their second sentence. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's also nothing wrong with you writing the second sentence in a theoretical sense. But what is important is that by the third sentence and the fourth sentence, you do need to be able to demonstrate the application skill. And if you don't demonstrate the application skill at those by the third and the fourth sentence, this is where you're going to then start losing marks. Because remember, okay, this is a 4-marker response, right? And as a 4-marker response, you do get 2 marks for this first paragraph, and you do get another 2 marks for the second paragraph. Okay, and the breakdown is that you get 1 mark for the identifying the correct advantage and explaining it in the theoretical sense. And then the second mark comes from the application. So being able to explain your advantage and disadvantage point in the context of the case study, right? So if you take a look at the third sentence, this is where you start seeing a little bit more context, right? This allowed the company to invest in R&D to expand its product offering. Okay, so here is where you can see a bit of the impact on business. And it's a positive impact too, which does link to the case because you're talking about research and development to expand their product offering. You know that GTI is a business that requires, a lot of money to invest into these green technology projects. So obviously it means that the business does need a lot of money and they do need it to, engage in R&D activities if they were to increase their product portfolio and to possibly explore new markets, right? So what you see here is that we are extending the response to talk about possible impact to business. And then the fourth sentence says the added capital will provide company with the liquidity needed to take them to the next level to achieve their vision of pioneering eco-friendly advancement. So what you see here is that there's clear link to the case study. You're linking it to their vision. Okay. In the case study, it mentions that they want to be the pioneer of eco-friendly advancements, right? Or technology. And by having the added sources of finance from the conversion to a privately held company, they will now have the liquidity to do this. So you see, everything that is being talked about here does link to the positive implication as a result of this greater access to sources of finance. But at the same time, this positive implication links to the case study. Okay, you see, just dropping things like, oh, talking about maybe aligning what, the positive implication to their vision, right? Or looking at, what business problems it might resolve, or the implication on a certain business function. These are different ways that you can demonstrate more application in your response. Okay. And then if you take a look at the next paragraph, you will adopt the same model and you will be able to answer, a 4 marker in a very thorough and in-depth, manner. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful for you. Thanks for watching this video. Please feel free to browse around the Diplomaly site for more resources, and I will see you next time.